It's a special feeling every time you put that jersey on, and I can't wait to wear it for the first time this year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Good evening, I'm Adrian Gabriel. Nylander Watch is finally, thankfully, over. Last week on City News, we were looking at the social media speculation. Where in the world is William Nylander? Well, tonight we know he's back where he belongs, right here in Toronto, though a contract dispute lasted more than the first 20 games of the season. It went right down to the wire, leaving the young Swede, the Leafs franchise, and many of their fans unsure how this impasse was going to shake down.
I don't know, I was getting into like the last, I think, 40 minutes before the deadline, and I was talking to my agent, and I said, let's just call him. And then that phone call, I think, really got everything done. It was just a tough process, and it was sure a learning experience that I don't ever want to go through again. But I think it made me, stronger as a person, and wanting to be here and then finally getting it done was a huge relief.
Over to Marner, hard pass, Matthews shoots, he scores!
The Leafs are a team many believe are on the cusp of cup contention. Getting Nylander back in the blue and white, essential.
He's a very talented young player. He's proven that the last 2 full seasons in the NHL, and he's only 22 years old. So we're excited to get him back and rolling and think he'll add a lot to the group. Joining Nylander at this afternoon's press conference, Kyle Dubas. For the Leafs' first-year GM, this is the first restricted free agent negotiation he's had to stick handle while at the helm of the historic franchise. His focus must now shift to figuring out how to fit multiple other pending restricted free agents under the salary cap, including 2 of the Buds' best young stars, Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. We know that in this market and that there's always going to be a lot of questions about it. I think that the players have handled it very, very well. We have some restricted free agents. We have some looming unrestricted free agents. I think it's a fortunate position that we're in, that we have these talented players that are part of our organization. When we first arrived here, we knew there was a lot of talent then as well. Just we needed to sort of hit the reset button a little bit, and now we've gotten to the point where we're at, and we're very proud of that. I think the organization top to bottom has done a good job of conveying our vision and then executing upon it. For Nylander's teammates, everyone today saying they're happy to have him back in the fold. They're also hopeful the daily Where's Nylander questions will come to an end.
So you had a chance to talk to Willie?
Oh, here we go. We're all just happy it's over and we can just move on and stop talking about it.
It's all part of the business of the game, and it is what it is, and the guy's got to do what a guy's got to do.
Nylander arrived at Pearson Airport yesterday afternoon with cameras rolling. After jumping into a big black SUV, he was able to get together with a bunch of the boys for a welcome back meal.
I saw him. I did the Make It Rain dance on him. But just gave him a hug, said congrats on the new contract. Like I said, we're all excited for him back here. He's a big part of this team, so it's just more excitement, I think, for all of us.
Now, there's no firm timeline on when Nylander will slide back into the Leafs roster. They play tomorrow night in Buffalo. Now, one of the good problems they have is where will he play? Well, common thought might say right beside Austin Matthews, where he's played the last 2 seasons. Coach Mike Babcock says he's given it some thought, but he wasn't in the mood to share his decision today. Ahead on City News, can Kyle Dubas fit both Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews under the salary cap? Earlier on City News at 5 and 6, we heard for the very first time from Leaf William Nylander since arriving in Toronto after signing a contract right at the last moment on Saturday. Now, the big question is whether or not they're going to be able to keep Nylander and some of the Leafs' other young stars, namely Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews. Earlier, I caught up with Sportsnet's Damian Cox to talk about the likelihood of fitting all these young players under big salaries under a small salary cap.
There's one guy who's saying it can be done, and that's Kyle Dubas. I don't think there's anybody else in hockey who thinks he can do it, that he's going to be able to get all these guys under contract and keep this team where it needs to be. I think the challenge is going to be less getting those guys under contract, but being able to sign enough players at lesser numbers to keep this team at the top of the league. You can't just invest it all in 2 or 3 players. You need 20 players to play every night. So that's a huge challenge for Dubas. But look, he crunches the number. He and Brandon Pridham, who's his right-hand man, they know the numbers. And I think we're going to find out what Matthews gets, what Marner gets, and then we'll be able to have a much better sense of how this whole thing's going to work.
Any chance with those two that it goes the distance like this and we have guys sitting out to start the year?
Dubas says no, I say yes. I think there's a very good chance, and not just Matthews and Marner, but a lot of young players across the league. This is a growing situation with some of the young stars coming out of their entry-level salaries and looking to make big jumps in salary. And each one of them is looking to the market and where the market's going. There could be another slowdown, another lockout coming. Could be the rules changing in the CBA. I wouldn't be surprised if we were talking about another situation like this with the Leafs or other teams next year at this time.
And another interesting twist to the Nylander story. He told the media today that General Manager Kyle Dubas has promised him he will not be traded for as long as his contract exists and as long as Dubas remains at the helm of the Leafs organization.